Here we are, a new year, fresh start, and major goal setting mode. I always start my day with coffee, and this time of year, you can step up your game by adding a protein boost to your favorite Dutch Bros coffee drink with their new protein milk. Dutch Bros coffee also has a new salted caramel protein coffee, and you can order it as a latte or a mocha, and that's available for a limited time now through February 29th. So if you're in the phase of wanting to work out more and adding workouts to your routine and just kind of getting back on track, this might be a great fit for you. Visit DutchBrosCoffee.com for full nutrition details and follow at Dutch Bros Fresno on Instagram for all the fun. So I recently discovered the yummy flavors and healthful benefits of squeezed juice, and I am hooked. As a mom, I know the daily dance with school germs all too well. That's why I've made squeezed juice a staple in my home. Not only do these premium refrigerated juices taste absolutely delicious, but they also support my immune system with 100% natural ingredients. No added water or artificial concentrates here. Picture this: pomegranates and mandarins grown by dedicated California family farmers, hand-picked and pressed into every bottle. That's a tree-to-bottle promise. But squeezed juice doesn't stop there. Their functional juices pack a punch, whether it's the green-powered energy, the immune-boosting immunity, which is one of my favorites, or the focused clarity of focus juice. They keep me going through those busy work days. And I've been told that one of their 11-ounce bottles is equal to 1.5 cups of coffee. So I've actually been trying to replace my afternoon coffee pick-me-up with one of their juices, and it is divine. You can order your own stash of yummy energy and vitamins by visiting shop.squeezedjuice.com and following them on Instagram at @thesqueezedjuice. Coffee Monday is more than a podcast. It's a movement to reshape the way we approach Mondays and the week ahead. It's about embracing the reality that work doesn't have to dominate our lives. It's about finding that sweet spot where passion, purpose, and a cup of motivation connect. Filmed and recorded in California's Central Valley, join me, your host, Rae Pardini Matson, as I invite thriving professionals to share their stories of how they're crafting a life that's both vibrant and balanced. This is fun, G. I'm excited to do this with you.
I'm so happy to be on, finally.
Always behind the scenes helping produce this podcast. So it's fun to chat with Gianna Cardella.
Yes.
And we decided to switch it up this time. I feel like I've had some friends and listeners say, I feel like you profile your guests and talk about your guests all the time, but I want to know more about you, which is sweet.
Yes. We all want to know a little bit more.
I don't know. I feel like I'm an open book for the most part, but I decided to, if I was going to do a solo episode, to kind of open up the questions to my followers on social and just kind of see what they would want to ask. So
yes,
we're going to do this Q&A style.
Love it.
Which is kind of fun. And I guess we'll just kind of dive into some of the questions that people have asked.
Yes.
And chip away at those. Does that work?
Let's dive right in.
Love it. Cool.
So what is your ideal morning and nighttime routine? And do you have any productivity health tips?
So many things. I feel like for me, time isn't on my side all the time. So like by the time the kids go to bed at night, for example, it's usually a little past 8, in which case I'm making lunches, always make the lunches the night before, clean up the kitchen, go through any kind of, pending items for work, clean up the house, all the things. So by the time I'm like doing my routine, it's just like essential. It's not like for funsies.
Right.
But a couple of things that I've really taken from other podcasters or just friends or colleagues are, I love doing my red light mask when I'm doing a meditation.
Yes.
And pre-kids, I meditated every morning before I got my day started, which I absolutely loved. But I keep setting my alarm earlier and the kids keep coming in the room earlier.
Yes.
So I don't know if they like sense it or hear it or what, but I don't have as much time in the morning as I'd like. So I've actually been doing 20-minute red light mask and meditation before bed. And it's just super relaxing. It helps calm my mind and just kind of, get into a proper deep sleep. So that's one thing I really love at night, paired with the usual, making sure the face is washed, hydration with a proper moisturizer. And then if I'm really feeling crazy, I'll do like a mask or something,
Yes.
like on a Friday or Saturday night. But for the most part, it's pretty much the basics when it comes to nighttime. Morning, a lot of people don't wash their face every morning. I do.
I recently stopped.
I know.
Just doing water in the morning.
So many people do. And there's benefits to that, clearly. I need to look into that more.
Not as stripping, I guess.
Right. Not
so
as
much
drying and stripping. Yeah. So I still do, but I'm open to that. I do all the basic things: wash, tone, vitamin C serum, moisturizer, and always sunscreen. Sunscreen all day. I do feel like for me, consistency is key for skincare. I'm sure like for most, right? But I feel like I literally do the same thing every day. It's nothing crazy. And then, I try to get ready before my kids wake up, which usually doesn't happen. So I'm like navigating getting ready, and Michael always helps get the kids their breakfast, and I set their clothes out the night before, and then it's kind of a scramble. But I'd say, again, washing my face in the morning, I do. I would love to build a workout in every day, or at least 3 days a week in the mornings. I've done a lot of research and read about the 5 a.m. club, which I'm doing. I'm waking up early. It's just not necessarily being as active as I'd like. So I usually get to it like after I drop off the girls. I have a friend that I walk with, and we walk like a couple miles, and then I head to the office depending on the day.
Right. What is the 5 a.m. club?
So the 5 a.m. club is this theory where a certain percentage of your morning is exercise, like spiritual mental work, and just like quietness, like mindfulness. So like journaling, meditation, that sort of thing. I'm probably totally butchering the specifics, but that's kind of the takeaways that I got, is like nurturing like 20 minutes of exercise, 20 minutes of thoughtful, spiritual work, and then 20 minutes of just like calming and gratitude.
Love that.
To get your day started. And there's like, it's a thing. It's obviously a book, but there's also like a very strong following for it. And think about it. The mornings that you wake up early,
the best,
right?
Feels so much better.
I do too. And then you get that feeling. You're like, oh yeah, this is why I'm doing it. I just need to be consistent with it.
Yeah. And it's hard.
I know. Especially when it's dark and cold outside. I'm like, I'm going to just snooze.
Snooze at the snooze.
Which, okay, you have the Aura ring. I really want the Aura ring goals.
I'm a huge person for the Aura. I love it. And it's changed a lot for me and my sleeping habits. And I'm ready for you to get one so we can talk about it.
Honestly, all the things. So you do think that you've seen like a results from having one?
Definitely in my sleep. I think because now I can really look at the insights on my sleep. I didn't realize how much quality night sleep affected my day. And when I realized when I get my 8 hours and I have deep sleep, my day is so much better. So now I want that every night.
Right.
So I work a lot harder to get to bed on time or relax before bed and wake up at the same time in the morning.
I think prioritizing sleep is so key. Like it's so key for everything. Our mind, our bodies, our work, everything, right?
Yes.
Our health.
Yeah.
I feel like when I'm not sleeping is when I get sick.
Yeah.
My immune system is just shot.
Right.
Or you're just running your body down.
Yeah. I used to like value working out over everything. And now I value sleep over everything. Like I'd rather get a full night's rest than I would get up to go to the gym.
Yeah, good.
Because I think it's more important now. I've realized for myself, sleeping and like getting the benefits of any workout that I do is more important than actually getting to the gym if I can't get there.
I agree.
Like I don't want to sacrifice my sleep for that.
I know. And I feel like I read something recently that like, yes, you want a strong workout routine and all the things, but restoring your body with sleep is just as important.
Just as important. Yeah.
interesting, right? Like the
Right.
things we take for granted. Sleep.
Sleep.
Who knew?
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I guess my health tip would be get
Yes.
more sleep.
Get more sleep.
Prioritize sleep when you can.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I understand it's hard with littles, but I mean, as much as you can, even if it means going to bed super early if you know you're going to wake up early the next day.
Right.
Like, turn off the TV. That's the other thing.
Yeah.
I do feel like that's helped.
Mm-hmm.
No TV and just have a good book.
No screen.
No screen. Yeah,
Yeah.
no scrolling, no screen. Do the meditation, do the mask. At that point, I'm like pretty much asleep when I'm
Yeah.
done. And if I'm still like not unwound, if that's even a word, I read and I pass out super quickly.
Yeah.
It's tempting though to like go on the phone and do the late night scrolling or texting or, watch a show. But it's definitely, don't you think? I mean,
Yeah.
you can tell with your quality of sleep.
Yeah, I think what's helped me the most, which is kind of a no-brainer, but I've started sleeping with my phone charger away from my bed. Where like when my alarm goes on in the morning, I have to get up physically
Yeah.
to get to my phone, which is such a hard transition, I guess, for me not to be able to just roll over and press snooze or roll over and look at my phone to wake up. But it also helps me when I go to bed because I can't scroll on my phone till I fall asleep.
Yeah.
Or look at something on my phone until I'm like, okay, now I'm about to fall asleep. I have
think
to
that's
put
smart.
I have to put it down and away from the bed and then lay down and force myself to not have it to
Because
rest.
once you're out of bed, it's like, okay, am I really going to get back in
I'm gonna
bed?
go back in. No.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. I got to start doing that because it's very easy to snooze,
Yes.
Okay, that was a good question. I don't really know how much value I brought to that.
I love it.
Just being real.
So next question is, what did you do before starting RPM?
Good question. So a little background, I guess, I don't know how detailed we want to get with this. I'll try to make it brief. From Fresno originally, graduated from Bullard, went to SC for my undergrad and really like dove into the whole Trojan network there. Like they say that about the school and how loyal Trojan fans are and alumni are. And I felt that so true. I joined a sorority, and through my sorority, I was able to make some really great connections. My first internship was at Cosmopolitan Magazine, and I was a referral from a sorority sister. And I interned with another friend who was in my sorority. So that was fun. It was like a very cliche moment for me. And going into college, I thought I wanted to be like editor of a magazine, editor in chief of a magazine. That was like goals. But I was an econ major, and I just felt like if I have a general business degree, that's great foundation, and I can get experience in other things while living in LA. So I did the Cosmo internship, absolutely loved it, loved my boss, loved the experience, a lot of lessons. My boss was no BS, and she taught me a lot just about hard work and honesty in the working world. And I did really great with that job, but the West Coast bureau for the magazine was super small. Their headquarters was in New York, like most publications and large companies. And so there wasn't a paid job available. It was all internships. So she's like, I don't have one for you, but I'm going to refer you to somebody who does. And so she referred me to People Magazine. And I worked there for a few years through college, and that was a job. I mean, at first it started as intern credit, and then it became a paid job where I was a reporter for the magazine, and had some really great coworkers and a lot of great editors that I met along the way that had different specialties in, celebrity news or like in general, like world news. The thing I loved about People, and still is a very legitimate like news source. So there's a lot of like the gossip mags that were all like false, or they would like bait and switch. So they'd say like Lindsay Lohan's new relationship unveiled here, and then it would be like a paparazzi shot of somebody you can't see. You know what I mean? So I felt like People was like very legitimate and had a really great reputation, and I really loved working there. I loved the people. Had really great coworkers, as I mentioned, had some really fun, crazy stories of just like red carpet experiences. And I was tasked at one point to oversee the Club Watch feature of the magazine, where I would literally get paid to go to clubs in Hollywood and report
So
about
cool.
who was there.
Yeah.
Like who was dating who and who was drinking what and who was dancing with who and the whole thing. And I would go, I'd be in class all day. And then I would work after school until like 5 or 6, maybe 6 or 7. I mean, we worked late at the time. And then I would go home, do my homework, eat dinner, and then go out at like from 10 to 2,
Wow.
like most nights. And I wouldn't drink every night, but like also I was in college. So like, yes, I definitely had a cocktail or two. I'm not gonna lie. But they also gave me a stipend for drinks and they gave me access to the top promoter in Hollywood so I can get into any club any night. But there were certain clubs that were cool during certain nights.
Interesting.
So like Crown Bar on Wednesdays and the Roosevelt on Thursdays and I don't know, there was another one on Fridays. I can't think of the name. But then like the names would change because the clubs would change owners and all the things. It was like a whole thing. Fun, crazy. I wish I still had my files
Right.
of like what I wrote and who I saw and all the things because the memory is a little blurry.
Right.
But it was a good time. And I learned though that as much as I loved what I was doing, like loved the organization and the people, I didn't see a future in that specific publication. Mm-hmm. And possibly that industry, just because, for lack of a better way of saying it, I didn't really care as much about like all the things. Like I had fun, but like long term when I'm in my 30s and my 40s, 50s, 60s, like, am I really going to care who Jennifer Aniston is dating? Like that was my job to care.
Right.
And a lot of people do, and they're really good at it and they have good contacts and all the things. I just didn't.
Right.
But it was a good foundation for learning, lots of writing. Got to write a lot. I would say strong writing skills are key in any job. I got it published a lot in magazine and online. So that was cool. And this was back when like online was like new.
Wow.
So like you were published in print more often than not.
Right.
Now I feel like I bet you it's equal or reversed. Yeah. Because think about it. You can publish the story right then and there. You don't have to wait every week to publish it.
Yeah.
You know? So definitely more fast breaking now, but loved it there, but decided I wanted to explore something else. So once again, my boss, Tracy at Cosmo, said, okay, like you're doing great at people. I think that's great, but I think you would also be good at something else in like the publicity world. Cause Tracy's background was a publicist. So she represented people like Johnny Depp. Okay.
Oh my gosh.
So her job and my role in supporting her as an intern for Cosmo was she did all the cover bookings and all of the celebrity bookings for the magazines. So at the time it was called something female, Man on Fire and something female. I can't remember the name, but it was like there was a featured male and a featured female celebrity in every issue. And then you had the cover feature. Mm-hmm. So Tracy handled all those bookings and we just essentially got to tag along and support her on the shoots and on the bookings and the events and all the things. She referred me to my boss in the job at Sony Pictures Entertainment. Sony Pictures owns many different entities. Columbia Pictures is a small part of that. And under the Columbia Pictures umbrella, they have a publicity team. Mm-hmm. They have it based on different regions. So they had international publicity, national publicity, regional, and digital and that sort of thing. So I was on one of the publicity teams as an assistant, starting at the very bottom for national publicity. So my boss was the EVP of national publicity for Sony Pictures Entertainment. And we worked on movies like the main actors of ours were like Will Smith and Adam Sandler. But being on a team, there was another team as well. There were 2 teams, at least that's how it was structured at the time. So we would work on, like when it came to a premiere or an event, we would work on all of the films and the local LA premieres. Really great experience. My boss was, she was very particular. Mm-hmm. And very good at what she does. And there were a lot of people that filled the shoes prior to me that just like didn't make the cut for whatever reason. So I felt like I got to prove myself. I remember the day of my graduation, I got the call that I got the job. like the
Stop.
day of my graduation. I was graduating unemployed. I'd been interviewing, had a good feeling about the Sony thing, but wasn't sure. And then I remember I like stepped away from my graduation lunch to accept the call.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And I think I had a week and then I started. So like I
Wow.
had a week after graduation. I just dove right in, which was perfect. I mean,
Yeah.
some people like went abroad and did all the things. I worked all through college. Like I was like ready to go.
Right.
Knew that I was staying in LA. Stayed there for, I want to say 3 years, 4 years. I don't know. Time's a thief. Did a lot. Loved it. Loved everything. Thought I'd be there forever. Loved my coworkers. Loved the work, all the things. And then my brother passed away on Valentine's Day, 2011. And I moved home that day and I never went back.
Yeah. Wow.
And yeah, came here. I eventually went back to get my stuff out of my apartment, but my job and my old boss were like super understanding and kept saying like doors always open. But
Yeah.
I'm just super close with my family and it just didn't feel right. So moved home, took a break for about 6 months and had some referrals to work for a local ad agency here. I worked there for 2 years, did really well there. And then decided that it was a kind of a culture shock for me going from like a Sony company who's like this huge global corporate structure to like a smaller family owned type setting.
Yeah. It must have been a little bit of a culture shock for you to go from there back here. Even though you grew up here, but as an adult.
100%. Like the last time I was here was high school.
Right. It's a
Like
totally different
Champlain
world.
and Perrin didn't even exist. Or maybe it
Right.
did, but I didn't know about it. Like
Yeah,
it was like,
never went there.
it was almost like starting over really. I had one high school friend that was here.
Yeah.
That's it.
Right.
I mean,
And
at
the
the
city's
time.
grown so much, like those 10 years.
And,
I mean, the
and
city's still growing.
Totally. And I just felt like I wasn't in the mindset of working when I was in high school. So I didn't even know what my options were.
Right.
So worked for the ad agency. It was good. Definitely lots of learning there. Just a different environment, different experience. And then I was 1 foot out the door to move to San Francisco. I had gotten a job offer at StubHub. And they had it was like a strategic partnerships job. So I would essentially be partnering at their advertisers and their partners with their venues.
Right.
So it was kind of different than what I did in publicity, obviously, but like some parallels when it came to account management and seemed like a cool fit. My best friend lived in San Fran at the time. I thought I'm literally going to sleep on her couch until I find something or, find a place to stay. And then I went to my cousin's wedding and met Michael.
The time.
Stayed, hooked me in.
Yes.
Here I am telling my whole life story. I said I would be brief, but essentially through Michael met Janelle, who is so great, such a big part of my life. Love her as a friend, as a mentor, as a colleague. And I worked with her at Marjorie Mason Center, not a part of at all what I thought my path would be. I was the director of development and communications for 3 years and loved it. In the same time, I was freelancing, doing publicity for brands here.
Yeah.
So I always felt like in my work, whether it was the ad agency or potentially StubHub or anything else, Marjorie Mason Center, the communications and the publicity and the whole like bringing people together I kept getting drawn back to that.
Yeah.
And so my freelance business was picking up and it was way more flexible than a 9-to-5 situation. So I decided to amicably part ways with Marjorie Mason Center. Still love the organization, very much support the mission and the amazing work they're doing in our community, and pursue this freelance deal.
Wow.
And this is like all when I was getting married. So Michael's probably like, what? And then fast forward 7+ years later, I made RPM official right after that and
Wild.
has since grown.
Yes.
So now I feel like get the best of both worlds where I
Right.
get to work with multiple brands in the community, do all the things that I felt like I kept being drawn to.
So cool.
Yeah.
So during that time, did you have any mentors that kind of helped you get where you are now?
Yeah. I mentioned Janelle. I think she's definitely a mentor. I don't even know if I've ever told her that, but Janelle, if you're listening, love ya. I very much look up to her. I think she's so such a prominent figure in our community and such a hard worker and a strong leader and just gives really good business advice. When I think of a mentor, I think of as a leader in my business, I think who can I call to like bounce an idea off of, or who has kind of helped guide me along my professional career. So I definitely think my dad is definitely one of them. All the time, I feel like I ask him questions. At the time when I was like living in LA and doing all the things, Tracy and Eileen, who were two of my bosses, Tracy at Cosmo and Eileen at Sony, like I considered them to be mentors. I feel like they very much helped me grow in my career, taught me some hard lessons, like were very hardworking themselves. And we still keep in touch on social. I'm not in like that scene anymore, obviously, but I still see them thriving and doing what they're doing and what they love. And I consider them to be mentors. I think it's important for people to have mentors along the way.
Definitely.
Those are some that kind of stick out to me now. I mean, I'm sure there may be others, but I don't know if it has to be such a defined thing. You know,
Right.
It's just people you consistently lean on
Yes.
for support in those areas. It might be different for different professions. Like if you're a doctor or a lawyer where you're having to like shadow people, that might be a little different, like mentorship. But for me, it was kind of those professional figures that I felt like I looked up to and I could go to for sound advice. You know what I mean?
That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. So that was kind of a long explanation of what I did before RPM. I feel like my path was a windy one, you know?
Yeah.
Everyone's is different. But it's not like I worked in what I studied in school.
Which is always so interesting. You know, a lot of times it's not what you majored in, but it's just part of the puzzle that gets you where you want to be.
That's how I feel for sure. And in my experience, somebody asked me the other day, I can't remember who it was. Oh, it was one of my La Felice sisters, La Felice Guild sisters. She said, is there like a special certification that you need for doing what you do?
Yeah.
And I was like, maybe.
Like, I don't know.
If there is, I don't have it.
Right.
It's called experience. No,
Yeah.
I'm sure there are classes. I'm like anything. There are classes and things that you do to consistently better yourself. But some people, some friends I know have gotten their master's in PR.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Super cool.
I love school. I would consider that. But I also feel like I'm learning so much in what I do every day with our clients and just different ventures that that's my way of continuing to educate. You know?
Yeah. Real life experience. It's just as important, I think.
Right? I feel like that's the way education is going to, or hopefully it is anyway.
Yeah. Speaking of La Felice,
Yes.
your favorite Fresno traditions is the next question.
Yeah. Well, Derby's definitely up there. Faux show.
Yes.
Favorite Fresno traditions. It's funny because I feel like when I hear the word traditions, I think like family. I think
Family.
right? Like including the kids. So Derby's a favorite just because it's an annual event that obviously I'm a part of with the guild, but also I consider it to be a tradition. It's a fun way to celebrate the Kentucky Derby itself and support local. I would say a lot of the traditions that I am thinking of are holiday related,
Yeah, there's
like
a lot.
fall/winter. So like Dakota Acres, their pumpkin patch is amazing.
So cute.
So great. It's more like obviously by invite only. It's not necessarily open to the public, but the Rocca family does a great job of hosting a pumpkin patch day with family and friends. And they do tractor rides and have the kids pick pumpkins. It's so sweet. And we love doing that every year. When I think like Thanksgiving, the turkey trot's always fun. That's at Woodward Park. You've done that, right?
I haven't,
You haven't?
but I want to.
You should. It's
I should,
fun.
yeah.
It's fun. And then it makes you feel less guilty for all the food you're eating at Thanksgiving.
Exactly. That's why I need to do it.
And then holidays, we always do the Hillcrest pajama train. So that's
So
not
cute.
Fresno, but it's Reedley and it's very close and we love it. They also have a pumpkin patch too, but I've heard great things about it. I've yet to do that. We did that for a field trip for Gwen, but Christmas tree lane's a favorite. Also on Christmas Tree Lane, the women's club at Fig Garden does this thing called Santa's House. My friend Jenna started it a few years ago, and it's just so precious. It's like all the nostalgic Christmas feels.
I love it.
All the activities for kids, making ornaments, writing letters to Santa, face painting, the whole thing.
So cute.
So cute. And of course, pictures with Santa. That's the big finale. And then we go to the Nutcracker every year at Williams Saroyan Theater. Such an awesome tradition with the girls. And Christmas Tree Lane. I think I said that already, right?
Christmas Tree Lane. Classic.
And there's always like various Christmas tree lighting ceremonies around town.
Yeah.
So I feel like everybody kind of has their favorites. We always go to the one at Tesoro Viejo. We absolutely love it. I mean, literally feels like you're straight out of a Hallmark movie. It just
really does.
Special, right?
Yeah.
The faux snow, the hot chocolate, the carolers, the Santa,
Mrs. Claus,
the Grinch came, and that was a fan fave. So all the photo moments, it's really special. So when I think about Fresno traditions, I think those are the ones that mainly come to mind.
Those are some good
right?
ones. Yeah.
I mean, we kind of do a lot of the similar things.
Yeah. I feel like a lot of those on that list
are sweet.
All right. Next question. Top 5 favorite restaurants. This one's important to me too. I'm a big foodie.
You are a big foodie.
I love it so much.
And do you mind sharing the thing you do with your dad? I think it's so cute.
Yes. So my dad and I think it took us like a year and a half. We rated like every restaurant we could that we were interested in Fresno and kind of the surrounding areas. So I'd write in my notes, we'd give it a 5-star rating out of 5 stars.
Yeah.
And we'd rate the atmosphere, the food, the service, and the noise level. My dad's likes like a more quiet restaurant. So we would kind of give the stars on how many stars for each category and then give an overall. And we also factored in like the price of everything. But yeah, that was like a fun little thing we did because we kind of found ourselves stuck going to the same restaurants.
Right.
And then, one day he told me like, oh, we should try somewhere new. And I started, oh, what about this place? What about this place? What about this place? And so then we started going to all the different places and rating them. And I think it took us, we would go once a week on Wednesdays.
That's cute.
And it was in college. I think it took us about like a year or so before we kind of got to like all of the places we wanted to go.
Yeah, that's impressive.
And I'm trying to think what our favorite one was. Now I don't even know.
I know.
I'd have to look back at the note because it was
back at your notes.
I want to say maybe 4 years ago that we did that.
Yeah, wow. That's cute.
It was really fun.
I mean, if I think of like my favorite restaurant, like where I bring people from out of town or potential business meetings or important things. I mean, Annex is like
Annex has a special place in my heart.
Right?
I worked there.
I know.
For a little over a year in college.
Oh, yeah. Doesn't that feel like forever ago?
Forever ago. So yeah, Annex always has a little special place in my heart.
Just for so many reasons.
Yeah.
I love that. Def my fave. Now that Anesso's a little closer to home for me.
Yeah.
Go there very frequently.
It's such an easy one too.
Also one of my favorites. And I feel like you could be a little bit more casual with the kids there and it's cool.
It is a little bit more casual.
Right?
Yeah.
Or dress up with the gals and go out on a girls' night. Either one. Or a date night. All the things. So Annex and Esso for sure. I love Max's.
Max's is typically my birthday spot.
Really? Cute.
I love their filet. So that's like on my birthday, I usually want to go there, have the filet.
Birthday filet.
Yes.
I love that.
It's so good.
It's so good. Michael took me there on our first date. So it also is a special place in my heart.
Oh, how
and it's
cute.
just so good.
I didn't realize that was your first date
Yes.
there.
No, he took me there thinking that we wouldn't run into anybody that we know.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, Fresno in general.
I mean,
Biggest
Fresno
small
in general.
town
No,
ever.
we ran into like a handful of people that we knew. We sat next to his best friend's mom. I'm like, seriously, this
my
is so
gosh.
perfect. On our first date. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like first date, awkward convo. You can tell the body language is like you're reading each other, you know?
Yes.
So that was a good LOL moment. Let's see. That's 3. I mean, Cezanne's obviously a vibe.
Love Cezanne.
Love Cezanne. I have yet to go to their brunch, but I love their dinner.
Dinner's fantastic. Brunch is fantastic. I really have no bad things to say about Cezanne.
Yeah, love it.
Drinks are good.
Drinks are great. The vibe is great. I love it every time. I also love Tabachines.
Tabachina, a special place in my heart as
Yeah,
well.
right? So
It
good.
is so good. It's just in a class of its own.
Mm-hmm.
Like Tabachina's is a spot that isn't like any other restaurant in town. So it's always a good switch up if you're
I
used to
agree.
kind of like your normal spots, and it's
I am.
refreshing.
I know. And I know this is more than 5, but I mean, cracked pepper.
Love cracked pepper.
I love cracked pepper.
The bread
The bread pudding. I'm sorry. Like, I dream of it.
Can't resist.
Like, I dream of it.
Yeah.
So good. And the food. I mean, the drinks and the wine and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Pache does such a great job. I love cracked pepper. So I think that's 6 or 7. I don't know. Definitely more than 5.
That's the one great thing about Fresno is we have great food options.
We really do.
There's been so many times I've gone to LA and people recommend, go to this restaurant, go to that one. And I'm underwhelmed. And I think because we have such good restaurants here that I don't know if other people...
We're spoiled.
Yeah.
We really are. The one thing I will say, tell me what your thoughts are on this, because you're definitely more versed on the restaurant scene than I. Only because I feel like I just gravitate to the ones I know and love.
Yeah.
You know? But sushi.
Sushi.
Like
Tamari.
that I do miss about LA. So Tamari's your favorite local?
Have you been to Tamari?
Once.
Oh, you have to go back.
I know.
Tamari.
I mean, it was good. It was good. But it's not like the places that I would go, like Sugarfish and Katsuya in LA, like so trendy, so basic. I know, but they're just so good.
So good. Yeah. No, I do love Tamari. I never liked raw fish before until I went to Tamari and I had like fresh, really well prepared raw fish. And now I can do it.
Now you're spoiled. Now you can't go back. Okay. Well, then I got to try it again.
Yeah. It is one of my favorites.
Love it. That was a good question.
Okay, we kind of said this, but what do you love most about living here? And what is some things that people get wrong about Fresno?
I feel like so many things people get wrong about Fresno.
Yeah.
I mean, that is like my mission, is to change the reputation of Fresno.
Me too.
We're on the up and up. We're doing it. Okay. I mean, maybe, hopefully things have changed, but like since I lived in LA, people didn't even know where it was.
Right.
They literally called it Cowtown.
Right.
Which I'm like, seriously, you sound so uneducated. Like, come on. I feel like there's so many things I love about living here. For starters, the fact that I can give my kids like the best childhood and the best upbringing. Like, I can own a home.
Yep.
I can drive to work and not feel like I have to commute an hour and a half. When I was living in LA, my minimum commute was an hour.
Which
each
it's
way.
like you're spending so much of your day
literally
just commuting.
And I was like rolling calls in the car, but like now with kids and like how precious my time is at work when I am away from them.
Yeah.
To me, that's like, I mean, unless you're rolling calls, because that's all you can do in the car. It's not like you can be on your phone.
Right.
That's time lost. I remember there were high up executives at Sony that had drivers.
Wow.
And they would get work done in the car.
Yeah.
They would have their laptops. They would have their Blackberries at the time, and they would be working while they drove. And they had a driver.
Right. It's probably more cost effective to have an hour worth of work done than to be driving.
Literally.
Which is crazy.
And
to
even
think.
to and from like lunch meetings and stuff. I mean, if you're going across town, it's like 45 minutes at least.
Right.
So I'd say the proximity, the fact that it's affordable to live here, our public schools are amazing. Whether you choose to do that or not, you have options for education. Whereas, again, I only have LA to compare to because that's where I was living most recently. I mean, in the areas that I lived, you had to go private. Like it wasn't an option.
Wow.
And it was significantly more expensive.
Yeah.
So just different landscape. I love the community. It's a great place for people to start a business, I think.
Yeah.
I think it's attainable. It's achievable. People super duper support local.
Yes.
You know? And I mean, I could go on. The location, people knock the fact that we're in the middle of the state. I think it's fantastic. You can go north, south, east, or west for a weekend, no problem.
No problem.
Our airport's getting more destinations and more bustling. So I think that's great and only going to get better.
Fastest growing airport, I think I heard.
Really?
On one of our,
amazing.
I think on one of our podcast guests told
Probably
us that.
Mayor Dyer.
Mayor Dyer, yeah. I think he said it was like the fastest growing airport in the nation or something crazy like that.
Honestly, wouldn't be surprised.
So I think it'll only get better.
I mean, all the things. I feel like what else haven't I touched on? I love the restaurants,
Yeah, that's my huge one.
the food,
The best food here.
the friends, the people. The people are quality.
Quality
like, even
people.
friends that have visited are like, wow, like these are just like good people, or friends that have moved here
I've heard
that
that a
aren't
lot.
from here.
Right.
They're like, so what's the catch? Everybody's nice here and welcoming and genuine. It's like, yeah.
They wave at you while
Yeah.
you're walking past them. Versus if you were in New York and you waved at someone, they'd be like,
Ooh,
what do you want? You know?
Trying to wave down a cab. That's pretty much it. No,
Right.
I don't even know if that's a thing anymore. Probably not. But yeah, I think all the things.
Yeah, there's so many things
So
to
many
love about
things.
Fresno.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
next question. Best part about owning your own business?
Well, there's lots. I don't think I can name one thing. But if I had to, at the top of the list, it'd be flexibility.
Yeah.
I think that's my why I started my own business and why I decided to fully dive into that is for flexibility. I'd been in previous roles where I would be working insane hours, like up at work before the sun came up and left after the sun went down.
Wow.
And that was obviously pre-kids and just in a different life, I feel. But for what? Like,
Right.
for what?
Mm-hmm.
And I felt like, if I'm going to pour my heart and soul into something, I feel like I want to create a place where I would want to work.
Yeah.
That's really a big part of my why. So flexibility is key, period. I'd say that might be my favorite part.
I love that. And that's huge.
Yeah.
Okay, next question. And I know a lot of people are wondering this.
Uh-oh.
Will you be doing another Mom's Time Out?
That is the loaded question. Huh? I know. I was thinking about that. This time last year, we already announced it. Like
Yeah.
tickets were on sale. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I know I do.
We put them on sale on Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
So, in short, yes, there will be another Mom's Time Out. That was a labor of love of many years in the making. And it was a lot of work on our team and all of those that were associated with the event. So I knew that if I was going to do it again, I feel like if I were to do it this year, I would have just burnt everybody out.
Yeah.
It was a lot, myself included. So decided to skip it every other year. So every other year will be Mom's Time Out. And a lot of feedback received from the last one. So intentionally, if for those that aren't familiar with the event or maybe weren't able to attend, the idea and the premise was to really have a night for moms, everybody's welcome, but it definitely was very much geared towards moms to really treat themselves. Moms put themselves at the bottom of the list and put everything and everyone above themselves. And so for a night for them to just feel special, feel like the queens that they are, get a couple hours away from the kiddos and the home life to dress up and have a fun night out. That was the idea. And I have been to so many cool, highly produced, highly curated, very high-end, elevated events in other markets. And I wanted to bring that to Fresno.
Yeah.
Like something that people were like, wow, I feel like I'm in another place.
And it did feel that way.
Oh, great.
And I am not a mom, and I had a blast.
Great.
Like I was living my best life.
I love it. Yeah. So we had it at the Audi Porsche dealership. It felt like almost like a disco nightclub vibe, right? But like classy.
Gorgeous. It was gorgeous.
The venue in the dealership was perfect for it. Brought in vendors from out of town. So that was cool. Some local, some out of town, really brought a lot of flair to the event. And I already have thoughts on the kind of vibe for next year.
I cannot wait to hear.
All right. But one thing's for sure is that I really felt strongly about having it on Mother's Day weekend.
Yes.
I felt like that's appropriate for so many reasons, right?
Absolutely.
May is a busy time already. And some women couldn't go because it was Mother's Day weekend, but can't please everybody.
Can't please everyone.
Right. And I feel like the timing was good. But one thing I did learn in booking the talent, which last year we had Kat and Nat, love them.
They were so good.
They were so great.
Hilarious.
And just so genuine. Like, so like, Rae, we're here to do whatever you want. Tell me what to do. It's like,
Yeah.
love you. Love you both. is in booking talent, in theory, they're moms.
Yes.
So they came in, they had to leave. They left that night on a red eye. So they weren't home on Mother's Day with their families because of flight delays.
Mm-hmm.
So that wasn't ideal. Probably obviously for them too.
Right.
So I got feedback that moving it to the Friday before Mother's Day would be better.
Mm-hmm.
That way, kind of like round out the week and you have the rest of the weekend to enjoy for all the Mother's Day festivities if you need to go out of town or do something with mom or whatever. Plus, in booking talent, they can go home and be home by Mother's Day.
Yeah.
So it will be, if I'm understanding and I Googled the date correctly, tentatively save Friday, May 9th, 2025.
Set in stone now.
Set in stone. It's official. It's happening.
Oh
I'm
my
excited.
Gosh. I'm so
I
excited.
have all the ideas.
Yes.
And I feel like it was challenging having this vision in my head kind of come to life and like selling it to potential sponsors and people that are attending. Like, I swear this is going to be cool.
Yeah.
I'm not just making this up.
Right.
So now that we've done one, it's like, okay, people know this is legit.
And all the people that can vouch for it too. Everyone that came and just had the best time.
Yeah, they did. Oh my gosh. Some of the quotes were killing me. One girl specifically, I remember said it was better than her wedding night.
Which I think is just iconic. Such an iconic statement.
I know. Literally, she said that. Best night ever. Better than my wedding night. This is an event Fresno's never seen.
Really, truly.
Yeah.
It felt like you were in some luxurious city
I love
nightlife. It was just,
I love it.
It was so nice.
Then that's a win in my mind. So yeah, May 9th, 2025. It's happening.
Can't wait. Okay, next question. What is something you want to do but haven't yet?
Oh gosh. So many things. So many things. I feel like nothing in particular sticks out that I feel comfortable sharing, you know, full deets on.
Right.
It's like in the works or in the mind and eventually to happen.
Yes.
But I will say that all of my ideas are with the overall goal of just continuing to elevate the reputation of Fresno and the Valley.
Yeah.
Like in general. Like when I think about a commonality of all my projects, if you will.
Yes.
That's definitely the most prominent,
Yes.
is that there's a lot of potential here that's untapped.
So much.
There's a lot of people eager for it. There's a lot of people doing things and traveling and going out of market for things that I could think that could be done here.
Absolutely.
And they're hungry for it.
Yeah.
And I just think we only have room to grow. So I can't really say specifically other than just things that make Fresno better. I don't even know how else to put it.
Yeah. And I feel like you very much are a visionary. You have like really big ideas and a lot of great like thoughts of where we could move as a city and where we can go.
Yeah.
So
Trying.
I am very excited.
Well, so many people are trying, right?
Right. Yeah.
It's
A
just,
lot of people
I'm
are.
just one person who's had the fortunate circumstance of like being able to kind of see what else is out there and then come back and be able to bring that
and see what's lacking here.
Yeah.
And where we can grow as a city and what we can do and the possibilities that are there, which I think is so cool.
So cool. So fun. Love it.
Next question.
Okay.
And our last question, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
What do you know now that you wish you had learned sooner?
Oh gosh. Oh man, I would say the first thing that comes to mind is boundaries.
Yeah.
I remember when I first started the business, and just in general, even prior to that, I didn't really have any. I would literally like work so late, or I would like have dinner with Michael or have dinner or happy hour with friends and then shower and then work on my laptop until 11.
Wow.
Like, what? I think about that. Or I think about, you know, hitting up my clients or the team all hours of the day, all days of the week for stuff that didn't even need to be talked about at the time.
Right.
Because it was hot on my mind. It felt like it was, you know, ASAP, and I needed to get it done right now. Whereas hindsight, knowing now what I know, it would have been so much easier. And I would have been so much more productive. And I would have been so much more focused. And I would have been so much more present. And I would have been so much more present. And I would have been so much more present. And I would have been so much more present. And I would have been so much more present. And I would have been so much more present. And I would have been so much more present. And I would have been so much more present. And I would have been so much more present. And I would have been so much more present. And I would have been so much more present. And I would have been so much more present. And I would have been so much more present. And I would have been so much more present. And I would have been so much more present. And I would have been so much more present. And I would have been so much more present. And I would have been so much more present. And I would have been so much more present. And I would have been so much more present. And I would have been so much more present. And I would have been so much more present. And I would have been so mu if it's really not an urgent situation, it can wait until the next day, the next week, whatever it may be. I do think that having kids has really put me in check with that. And I think our world and our culture of the working world is very different now than it was back then.
And I'm sure from Fresno to LA, the
Yes,
culture there
100%.
compared to the
I'll
culture
never
here.
forget this. So LA, very different life. I mean, again, I'd work crazy early, be the first one there. We would go to dinner, happy hour with coworkers. I would go back to the office, or I would like go to some networking thing for work.
Wow.
And then I would do it all over again. So I'd work till like 11 midnight sometimes.
Just all day, every day.
Pretty much. And, or, you know, I was young and we would go out and stuff and be social, but like ultimately it was just a grind.
Yeah.
It was a grind. So then when I moved back to Fresno and I started working for the ad agency here, I'll never forget, it was like 4:59 and everybody was cleared out of the office. And I was like, wait,
What?
what? Like 6 was leaving early at Sony.
Wow.
Granted, again, this was what, 2009? What was that? I mean, 15 years ago.
I think it's still like that though. The friends that I have that live in LA
Really?
say the same thing, that they're working late at night. And I'm like, what do you mean?
What are you doing? Yes.
So I feel like the culture, and several friends that they don't even work at the same places.
I mean, like 9 or 10 to 6 was like a short day. It was like, ooh, you got off work early.
That's wild.
I know. And so I remember when I came back here, 4:59, everyone's out, pieced out. I'm like, wait, what? So that definitely was an adjustment for me, like a good one.
Yeah.
But then I kind of dove into the nonprofit world, and at the nonprofit organizations, you wear a lot of hats. So there is just it is a lot of work. So I felt like I kind of went back to my old ways a little bit at MMC, not in a bad way, but just in a way of like, I really wanted to like give it my all
Yeah.
in a director role. And then same with starting RPM. Like I remember newly married, Michael and I would have dinner and I would be working on my laptop while he's watching a movie on the couch until like midnight.
Yeah.
But like, what was I doing?
Right. Right.
I mean, obviously something. So I would say boundaries. I think that it's easier said than done, but like put yourself in check. Like, is this really worth responding to right now? Can it wait to be addressed the next business day? Or good gauge of judgment. If it is urgent, then respond accordingly. I mean, we work in media. There are some urgent things that come up.
Right.
But there are some things that could wait until the next business day, you know?
Yeah.
So I think being a mom has really like made me so protective of my time and so like pack as much as I can into the hours that I have so that when I am with my kids, I'm like 100 with them.
Yes. You're not halfway. Mine's still on work.
Yeah. And I don't know. Some people can work and like multitask with their kids. I cannot.
That's got to be hard.
I just can't. I actually can't. Know your strengths. That's not one of mine. I've tried. I feel like I fail on both ends. I feel like I am not there for my kids. I am not totally present with work. It just doesn't work. So I'd rather like be very conscious of my working time and then be present with the kids. So I'd say boundaries. And I think that's like a big one for me.
Yeah.
I think a big one. And just like knowing your worth too. You know, I think it's like even in like some sort of an interview format, your instinct is to be nervous. I wonder if they're going to like me. I wonder if they're going to accept me. I wonder if I'm going to get the job or the promotion or whatever. You have to think there's a reason why they're looking for that position.
Yeah.
There's a reason why it's open.
Right.
So remind yourself that you're just as valuable as the company is.
Yeah.
I would say. And I think that's hard to swallow. But I remember being so nervous going into some interviews. And now being on the other side, interviewing other people, like to work with RPM, I'm like, we really need this person.
Yes.
I want this to work.
Yeah.
So just knowing your value, I think would be another takeaway.
I love that.
Yeah. That was fun.
So fun.
Those were good questions.
Very
Thanks,
insightful.
peeps. Those were really good.
That was awesome.
Thanks, G. That was fun. Thanks for listening. Feel free to rate and review this episode here and connect with us on Instagram if you have any thoughts, questions, or any guest suggestions. Thanks.